Business. All right. Let us take the position of prayer, attention prayer, and we pray. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, being upright, to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he in this am I commanded, for I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the king, and there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against my faults, Allah, for none grants protection against faults except thee. And turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. But guide me, Allah, O Allah, to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad as thou didst bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. And make Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad successful as thou didst make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified in thy midst. And O Allah, we beseech your aid, guidance, and protection, your mercy and your forgiveness. We seek refuge in thee from the accursed Satan, seek refuge from the wiles of the reactive mind. And we invoke your spirit on our reading and on our session today. All of these things we ask you in the name of your servants, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Ameen. Right. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I'd like to greet my dear beloved brothers and sisters once again in the nation. Greetings of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Alaikum salam.
Ramadan Quranic.
All right. So we part 26. Man, boy, this month has kind of went kind of fast, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
You know, and I think, getting together like this on a daily basis has certainly helped it to move fast with myself. And it's been a great Ramadan. I know Sister Denise was saying that was her best Ramadan, and Belinda and I were just saying that ourselves, that this has been the best one. And at least from the standpoint of reading and understanding the Quran, even though we haven't covered really covered it as thoroughly as I would want to have covered it, but I think it's been covered in a way that Allah wants it to be covered, with given the time, resources that we have. And so we know that Allah he's looking at his whole Muslim ummah, the Muslim brotherhood all over the world, and we are all striving to please Allah. And I pray for all of my brothers and sisters all over the world that Allah accept our fast and accept our prayers and accept our sacrifice, our life and our death. For our life, death, prayer, and our sacrifices are all for Allah. And so let's go ahead on and get right down to it. We're in part 26, the sand hills. This is one of my a couple of verses in here is some of my favorite all-time favorite verses because I find myself reading certain ayats in this particular surah during times of distress. And I'm not going to say affliction, but definitely distress. And you know, that's when your mind opens up to Allah when you're under distress. Okay. All right. So ayat 3. See, we created not the heavens and the earth and all between them, save with truth and for an appointed term. And those who disbelieve turn away from that whereof they are warned. And that's interesting that it says that the universe had a beginning and it will also have an end in the footnote. I don't know if I've ever noticed that. And I mean, that makes sense because it's physical, it's messed, but we will be here. And inshallah, maybe we will, by the time that this universe ends, maybe we will be on the level where we can whoop us another one up right quick. And but I remember Brother Jabril was talking about how you couldn't destroy the black man, and how that if by some accident we would get destroyed or obliterated, it said that everything would just implode in this universe. And then he said then we would just start over. It'd just be a cycle of action, because everything is a cycle of action. Start, change, and stop. So why would that not apply to the universe? Allah started it. It's changing now. So we got the songs, everything must change. We're changing now. And at some point in time, it will be an end to this. However, it seems like it would be a long, long time. But especially after I was studying, looking over the concept the other day of the static, every time you look at this stuff, you just get something different. You get something additional, especially when you start talking about what we were talking about the other day. And Mr. Hubbard says, actually, in the Phoenix lectures, he says that that it's really important that we get an understanding or come to an understanding on this thing called static. He said that you probably will not do a whole lot in Scientology unless you get a grip on that. Now, I don't think that necessarily mean that you have to just become a master, but you have to find something, some reality somewhere. And as we know, once you find reality in one point, or you get somewhere to anchor yourself, to anchor your viewpoint, see, to where you can get a measurement, to where some type of mathematical concept can be achieved, and you receive some reality on it. So he said we created it with truth and for an appointed term. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Then we move on to ayat 12. And before it was the book of Moses, a guide and a mercy. And this is a book verifying it in the Arabic language, that it may warn those who do wrong. And that's good news for the doers of good. The thing that I got out of this particular verse is that when he talks about a book verifying it in the Arabic language. So what is the significance of the Arabic language? He says, what was that, 12? Okay. I had a little different perspective, and that's what's in the footnote, which, by the way, I look at the footnote the same way I was saying about studying anything, and this is what Mr. Hubbard was saying too about studying. You find the reality. You got to get the reality. Something that you can relate to, something that's on the same page that you're on. You know, some component, find some component of what you are studying that you're on the same page with, that you are in agreement on. And then now you got something to anchor yourself. You got, you're in the position where you can use mathematics to navigate. So he says a book verifying it in the Arabic language. So he I guess he's talking about the Torah being given to Moses, and I think that was ancient Egyptian Hebrew, I believe was the original tongue. I believe it was. I'm sure that was one of the languages anyway, ancient Egyptian Hebrew, and which I don't know a word of, So don't think I'm just, throwing that around like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. We know that Moses was an ancient, and he was Egyptian, and so you got ancient Egyptian Hebrew, and but it says that this is a book verifying it in the Arabic language. Now, when you start talking about Arabic language, well, I know a little bit about the Arabic language. I actually had a Arabic teacher who happened to be a member of my band. He was a bass player. He played he played the bass, and he was a graduate of Berkeley School of Music, one of the real prestigious music schools in America. And he was an imam. He was in the first, as they say, he was in the first resurrection with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then, of course, when the imam came, he went with the imam for a while, and then he ended up being sort of an independent, even of the imam, but he spent some time in Egypt. Matter of fact, he spent several years in Egypt, and he became very fluent in Arabic, and he had begun to teach me some Arabic, and so we talk about the Arabic language, and then we talk about the Quranic Arabic language, and then the Quranic Arabic language, if I remember correctly, was the Arabic that came with the prophet, and it was a language. See, when you start talking about language is it consists of words, number one. And of course, the minister, has reminded us recently that words matter. Words matter, And, we are all sticklers for words. I consider myself, without the arrogance, without the ego, well, with as little ego as possible, put it like that, to be a wordsmith, even though I'm a country boy and I might talk country, but when I talk, I think I generally don't say things that I don't really know if I don't understand what it is that I'm talking about. And I say all that to say that I appreciate the value of words. And we have all types of evidence around us that gives us the significance of words. And as Mr. Hubbard tells us, he said words are packets of thought. If you would, Belinda, pull up words. See if you can find words in the technical dictionary. All right, and so words are packets of thought, and so words can be like the carrier beam of thought. The thoughts can be transmitted by words, and then words have inherent in words are concepts. So our experience in life really comes through words. Words are a way by which we organize our thoughts. So it says packets of thoughts. So the packets are organized. So we are able to organize our thoughts to the point where they make sense in words. All right. And so words, I remember studying when we were studying, I was studying when I was in college, and I was studying Western philosophy, and they were saying that words have the concepts. In other words, the concepts, words contain concept. Words point you to concept. They direct you to concept, which I guess a concept is like a packet of thought. All right. So in other words, we experience life through words. If you walk down the street or ride down the street and you see, if you like cars, for example, if you like cars and you ride down the street and then you see a brand new Bugatti Chiron, and if you don't know what that is, that's like a very exotic sports car that the cheapest ones are about $1.5 million for a car. And so you say, that's a nice car. And so what it is that you part of how you experience that the beauty of that car is through words. You say, well, that is a nice car. And your concepts are produced or they are shaped through words. Okay? So words are very important because Well, it says in the beginning was the word was with God, the word, actually said the word was God. So now, you're kind of getting in some deep water now. You said that the word was God. And Mr. Hubbard even says that when you clearing a word, that you keep on, you get that theta mess thing going again. And then well, maybe that's not theta mess, but he said that when you continue to concentrate on a word over and over and over, and you get deeper and deeper and deeper, you keep on going. At the end of that line of thought is static. So when you keep on, when you keep on considering, and so now that goes considering, which means to think about it. And so you think about it, 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 static. In other words, your attention will eventually resolve to the point of static, where you become absolutely, or I won't say absolutely, but at least there is a threshold. You pass the threshold of mess, I guess. Past the threshold of thinking about it in terms of matter, energy, space, and time, when I guess you can become one with cause. Anyway, this is just something for you to consider. All right. So, and then it makes me think about the problem number 13, where it talks about words considered well. See, when you consider it well, and I'll share this with anybody that wants to. I'll pull up the Phoenix lectures where he talks about this, and he's really talking about. I believe he's talking about that when he's explaining the axioms, the 51 axioms, not the ones that's in Handbook for Pre-Clears, even though they're the same ones, but because they are the same axioms, except in the Phoenix lectures, the axioms have been simplified. It's the same concepts, but the words are different, which is an interesting thing there. The words are different. And since the words are different, then the packets of thought are different. And so the different packets of thoughts, or the packages of thoughts, or the more complex reality of thought allows you to see it more clearly. In other words, as he developed these axioms, he was able to reduce them to a level where they are simpler, yet they were able to give you a concept that was more comprehensive and that was more resolute, where you could see the finer aspects, which is very central in what we are doing. What we are trying to do, what we are exploring, is the finer aspects of Islam. These are the finer aspects. See, one level you say, well, I just pray, I fast, I give in charity, I do Hajj, and jihad. That's good. That'll work. That'll work good. But when you start putting it into the finer aspect, then you go from some people just gobble the whole meal down, scarf it down. So, well, that'll keep you alive. You got it in your belly. Sometimes it's the little problems come up with digestion when you scarf it down. But they always teach you that you should chew that food 32 times. That you should thoroughly masticate that food. Keep it in your mouth long enough so that saliva will take hold to it in the initial process of breaking it down so that your body can extricate all of the nutrients. And this is what we're trying to do even with words. Man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God. So here we're talking about in this thing, we're talking about a book. What is a book? A book contains words. Words contain concepts, or you could say packets of thought. So if you got a packet of this, a packet of that, a certain package. Normally, when you're talking about a package, you're talking about certain items that kind of belong together. You say, this is packaged up. I'm going to give you the sports package in this car. So that means you get better shock absorbers and you get a high performance engine. It's a package. It speaks to the organization of thought. And the words, you can probably help me on this one, Brother Luke Munn. The words are, they write there. There's it's like the carrier wave that help the terminals exchange. I didn't realize it's, I didn't realize this was, well, I did realize it was this deep, but I don't recall us really going into it quite like this. But and I hope everybody's following me. And if you're not, please let me know. And then if it's something I need to explain a little bit more, or something that you're not quite getting, please let me know. And I'm sure that your question will help me. And see, it's so much in this. See, the words, explain that to me. I'm on the witness stand, and then the attorney say, well, explain this. And so you use words to explain it. And then the better and the more resolute your words are, the better way that your words are organized, or if you can speak in such a way that the judge and the jury and the attorney can make measurements. See, when that's part of what I think they're talking about when they say mathematical theology. That's a theology that you can measure. And I would think where you could measure the workability of the theology. Mathematical theology, words. So it says, we're given to you the book in the Arabic language. Okay, so you have Arabic, what they call the Quranic Arabic, which is the Arabic, the edition of Arabic that came during the time of the Quran, the Quran. All right. Now, it is a mathematically superior language. See, because when you are communicating, oftentimes you are communicating measurements. All right. So the Quran, or the Quranic Arabic, is a mathematically superior language. That means all of the things, see, Moses got the ancient Egyptian Hebrew, and that was cool. But the language has and had its limitations in terms of the concepts that the words were able to open up. See, the words open up concepts. And then when you are able to open these concepts to the degree that you are able to open up these concepts, then that affects how the reality enters and acclimates to your mind, to the point where you understand and you get A, R, or C. See, you can get to a certain, and this is what Mr. Hubbard was saying, that you can study a word or a concept or just about anything. He said, if you run it all the way out, it runs all the way out to a static, till you get to the point where there's nothing left to understand. And inshallah, I may be able to do it tomorrow. I promise you, I will get this, because I don't want to take you out here on this ship and just leave you to what he said. I'll even play what he says about how you follow a thing out and it gets to static. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm just trying to be real thorough with this, because I think we tap on these hot buttons and we tap on these issues that are just of paramount importance. And so we say that's why it's given to us in verifying it in the Arabic language. So why the Arabic language? Because the Arabic language allows, when you look at it conceptually, the concepts of the Arabic language are more mathematically accurate. The parameters are balanced. They have balance. All right. And before I go into this dictionary of a word, the definition of word, I'll say that the Quranic Arabic, see, the overall concept, and I'm just deriving this from the history that I know of the Quranic Arabic and some of the things that Imam Nasheed taught me, was that the Quranic Arabic gave rise or enabled or produced what we know as the Arabic numerical system. You know what that is? Anybody know what that is? Arabic numerical system? That's what. Just somebody tell me. Somebody tell me what Arabic numerical system.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There you go. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you know, so that's how that so that is really the basis of mathematics as we know it today. You go to Mexico where they speak Spanish. We say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you go to Mexico, what do they say? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. They're using different phonetic expressions, but they saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I remember when I was taking Taekwondo, martial arts, the Korean teacher, he counted in Korean, but what he was saying was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this concept is, when you look at it, it is a work of simplicity. It reflects the wisdom of Allah. How Allah gives us wisdom. Okay? His expression to us, his gift to us is wisdom. Because I remember the minister was teaching about the same thing we're talking about now. The minister was saying, he said that Muhammad introduced a mathematical system that revolutionized science and mathematics. Before the prophet, what was they using? They was using Roman numerals.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Roman numerals, you what? I, I, IV. I'm sorry. That's 4. And then V instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Brother Patang.
Go ahead, sister. And then Sister Sharon.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say right there that when you were talking about the different dialects of counting, it just made me think about the scientist who blew away the part of Earth called Moon. He was frustrated because he wanted everyone to speak the same dialect. And it just made me think that I wonder if he saw the simplicity in the Arabic language so much so that he just wanted to make it simple. And I don't know. But it just made me think about
it. It could be, I've heard various teachers over the years said that brother was just ahead of his time.
Mm-hmm.
He was ahead of his time, and so that's an astute observation. Sister Cheryl, you were about to say something?
Yes, sir. If you all could help me to understand something. When you said we speaking the words, and we end up with a static. I remember Minister Farrakhan say, we can say be and let it, and it will be. So I'm just trying to get understanding. When we speak these concepts, the vibrations, are we speaking that static which forms something in the physical universe? I may not be asking it right, but you made me have a cognition. We're speaking the concept, the words, the vibration is what creates the static, which either will set out there and create something negative or positive based on the feelings coming from us. Did I make that clear?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I believe so. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. Okay.
Well, everything originates with the static. See, that's the beginning of everything. Is static. It's not in. It doesn't exist with mass, wavelength, space, or time. So that's the origin of it. Okay, but it makes sense when it interacts, or even, you could even say, interpolates with the physical universe. You can't feel it. I mean, it ain't nothing that can be measured, you see, unless it interacts with the physical universe. See, and that's one reason why we are admonished in the Quran to believe. See, the belief comes from the static, and do good. See, do good is where the rubber meets the road. See, and because, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, mere belief accounts. So what is the accounting? That's the measurement. It accounts for nothing except put into practice. And so it is the working of this belief. If you work it all the way out, you will end up back at the static. I don't know why I keep on looking around. I ain't seeing nothing now that I didn't see when I looked around the first time. But I promise you, I will find it and we'll play it for you tomorrow. Just let you hear it directly from Mr. Hubbard, because this stuff it's based on either the minister, the messenger, the Hubbard, or it's something. It's based on. It's either directly from them or it's based on something that's directly from them. And does that ease your burden at all, Sister Cheryl?
Yes, sir. It's a little fuzzy, but it's becoming clear when you say believe. Belief is, to me, it's over the material universe, because when we believe something, we're marking it up. We're marking it up. I think we're marking it up, and we're marking it up. So we're putting it out there to be created.
Yes.
And one more thing, this is what has been taken away from us as Black people. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we've been made other than ourselves, and I think Islam is coming back to give us that which we lost for some reason.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, I don't want to go off track, but I'm just trying to put the puzzle together in my thought.
Right. Well, we will piece it together as we go. We will piece, but that's a good question. I mean, that's a good question, And I think you kind of answering it to a degree, or either that was your cognition, because see, like you said, the belief is a mock-up, which means it in itself is not necessarily part of the physical universe. You mocked it up. You put it there.
Mhm.
You see, you got that idea. You see, and so and the idea, the ultimate source of the idea is the static, or it is some conclusion that the static made as it interacts with mass. So to try to finish the point that I was making earlier is that why is it, why does he say it's verifying it in the Arabic language? Is because the Arabic language is the best of verifiers, because it is a conceptually, mathematically superior language than any other language. And that's why all of the other languages today in the civilized world, use the Arabic numerical system as the basis of their mathematics. Okay? So it's a mathematical language. And then we're taught Islam is science and Islam is mathematics. And then we talked about you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then when you and then in Roman numeral, you I, so they are able to have microcomputers. They are able to perform mathematical feats of gigantic proportions with the Arabic. And then I remember the minister say, you get Roman numerals, it's a wonder that using Roman numerals that they could even get across the street. We gave them the technology that enabled them to go to the moon. And with the Roman numeral, they couldn't even get across the street. You see. Go ahead, Brother Luke Mon.
I was just thinking that if we were still on Roman numerals, we wouldn't even be able to have computers, because
Absolutely.
you need binary mathematics.
That's right.
And if all we had was Roman numerals, we would all still be in the caves.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I did a lecture back in 1991 at Albany State. I was speaking to some college students at Albany State University, and the title of the lecture was Trying to Solve Calculus with Roman Numerals. So, and so that's what happens. Maybe you could do it in a couple of trillion years, but maybe not, because you are not high enough. You understand what I'm saying? Your viewpoint is not high enough. Your viewpoint does not afford you a comprehensive enough perspective. And that's what the Arabic that gave rise to the Roman numerals, it gave us an enhanced perspective of just reality, not just mathematics, but really reality. Because when you think about it, that's all you doing every day. You calculating. You wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, you ain't thinking about it, but you calculating where the floor is at. How you gonna step on the floor? You got to calculate. When you reach for the water fountain to brush your teeth or whatever it is, you calculating it. You got to know how far it is. And, well, I can reach this. You know what I mean? The faucet is a foot away. My arm is a foot. I can do that. And so, see, we way up under the hood of this car, you know. But see, when we understand these things, see, pretty soon it's gonna sink in. It's like we were talking about marinating the other day. How about the thing when you marinate some food, the marinate, you just let it soak there for a minute. If you marinate it for 30 minutes and then if you marinate it for 3 hours, well, then the taste is a little bit different after 3 hours because it's got a little time to sink in. So that's all it is. See, all of this, we're not teaching, as Mr. Hubbard said, we're not teaching anything that you really don't already know. You will find your way to it. Don't worry about it. If you ain't getting it all now, just get whatever part that you can get it, run with it, marinate on it, because it will connect up later. All right. So in the technical dictionary, and like I say, I do wonder sometimes who, I don't think Mr. Hubbard was the one that edited this dictionary. I really don't. Because some of the definitions that I know of are missing. It says word, a symbolic sound code of the physical universe in action or in static, and refers to nothing more than a condition or lack of condition of being of the physical universe. Words are all physical universe because they are designed to go on a physical universe system. Okay, a word is a whole package of thought. That's the one I was using. Words are only symbols which represent actions. Words are sound and syllabic form delivered with a definite timbre, pitch, and volume, or sight recognition in each case. Words are a highly specialized form of audio perceptics. The quality of the sound in uttering the word is nearly as important as the word itself. The written word belongs in part to visio perceptics. And so it talks about the quality of sound, and then it talks about, you know, how we in the Black church, especially the early Black church, and we would be doing that chanting, and you know, I don't know everybody's background. I don't know, I'm here and from the deep South, and then we get in that church, and the brothers and the sisters, they be almost like they moaning. And you may remember Al Green, who's the Reverend Al Green now. That was his big thing. He knew how to moan. This ain't the way that we moan. And
That was, I love the Lord, he heard my cry. You know, somebody say that, I love the Lord, he heard my cry. And they do all that stuff.
That's right. He said,
They just go on with
yeah. And then they just, it was just something that would be, it kept on, it had a certain kind of quality. And so the Arabic language, sort of like that, it's a carrier wave. The word is like a carrier wave. And I'm going to get some, I'm gonna get that teaching to you, inshallah, with tomorrow's session. But so he said that, well, I gave a book to Moses. And this is a book verifying it. So he said, I gave you the same, I gave you my word, I gave you my will. But now I'm giving it to you in the Arabic language, which is a more concise. You know, I woke you up. It could be just like Islam. It could be like Islam given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It woke us up. And so now we getting the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard, which gives us a more concise, organized perspective of the book. But it's not the book, it's verifying the book. It's verifying what we've been given from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Is your hand still up, Brother Lukman?
I just wanted to, I was trying to find the ayah in the Holy Quran when you're talking about the word. There's a verse in the Holy Quran where Allah says everything in his creation is a word.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to track it down.
Yeah, good. Please bless us with it when you get it. I'm just saying that, you know, if we don't get nothing else out of the Quranic reading, man, that is of paramount importance. This thing about words, and you see what it says in the lessons about what I interpreted to be our ineptitude when it comes to words, where it says the average man speaks 400 words considered well. And when we can, without very much research at all, discover that it's a lot more than 400 words out here that people use in their vocabulary. And the first conclusion that I could come to would be that we use a lot of words, we don't really know what we're talking about. Now, we won't say it. I ain't gonna say that. I said that we use a lot of words that we have not considered well. And so it could be that you consider it well. When you keep on considering it, then you get back to the origin of the word, which is the static. Well, that wasn't so hard. But that's the point I was really trying to make. And it's always a simple explanation. You know. Because for a minute there, I felt like I was swimming in seaweed there for a minute.
No, sir. Brother Team?
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem, sir. As you was talking, I was thinking about when the minister said it takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds if a person is ill and you get in their ear, and the sound as well as what you say to the person, that, you know, you could actually see them coming back to life, or whatever, life coming back into them. Just the words and the power that words have on a person, and the word becoming flesh, you know, where I don't know why I was thinking about the book of Elijah. you know, that all of us are books and stuff is written on us, and at a certain time, you know, you might say, where did I don't know where I heard it from. The messenger, somebody said it, because so much is being written on us. And when the minister say, when you wake up and you realize that God is really your Father, he said, and then you're gonna really think and stop about. Because sometimes when you say stuff, you know, you might say, I'm just repeating, but when that internalize and go inside of you, that's why words do matter. You have to be careful of that. The Bible talks about a boneless tongue, because it has the power to heal and it has the power to kill with that same tongue. And so, you know, as you was talking, I was thinking about how powerful words are. And when the minister speaks to us, you know, it's like, I don't know, we come alive, you know, the resurrection, we come alive, and we start thinking, and how he connects the bones together, the dry bones together, and, you know, and how that affects us with, it's not just, you know, it's what we're hearing, but it's also what we're taking in that heals the soul. There I go with that soul word again.
Praise be to Allah. That's right.
It. That's it, below. That's all
Yes,
I
ma'am.
got.
Yeah. Well, one way you can look at that is that when you whisper, it's one thing about whispering. See, and that when you whisper the word, then the power of the word impinges on the physical universe. And when you whisper a word in somebody's ear, then the power of that word, it takes the 8 minutes and 20 seconds to permeate the body. That means it circulates all over the body. By the time the effect of that word circulates the whole body, then you just feel like a new person again. Sister Belinda had put something up here, closing the gap. You want to read that, Belinda?
Sure. Closing the gap, page 318. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me once that it takes 500 seconds, 8 minutes, and 20 seconds for the light traveling at 186,000 miles per second to travel from the sun to the earth. Likewise, he said it takes 500 seconds. No, it moved them. Likewise, he said it takes 500 seconds, 8 minutes, and 20 seconds for the blood to make a complete circulation between the heel and back to the brain. He said, when you go visit a person that is sick, if you put the right word in their ear, within 8 minutes and 20 seconds, you will see a change in the spirit of such person.
Mm-hmm. So you could just see that is that you got blood cells, and then whatever your experience is written on your cell. So the right word that would affect the cell in such a way, by the time it circulates your whole body, you can see a difference in the countenance of that particular person. Okay, wow, we 6 o'clock now. I'm gonna skip. We might skip back if we get a chance, but I want to skip to ayat 35, and then I think we will go. Yeah, go to 35. And this is something that we have been, it's been sort of a theme throughout this month. It says, so have patience as men of resolution. The messengers had patience. Seek not to hasten on for them their doom. On the day when they see that which they are promised, it will be as if they had not tarried save an hour of the day. Thine is to deliver. Shall then any be destroyed, save the transgressing people? So it's just saying, have patience. And it's really telling you something about, really about the tiaras. And you know, I believe we could do some tiara drills on Zoom. I think Tiara Zero. Has anybody done Tiara Zero other than Belinda? You've done it, Sister Cheryl. You're on mute, but it seems like you're saying yes.
Yes, sir.
That might be something, you know, in the future, inshallah, the near future, we could do breakout rooms and work on Tiara Zero. Be there. And basically, you can you know, you could look at me, I could look at you, and then we could give it a try and see if that would work. I'm thinking that it would. And it's just an exercise. But see, we can't take the attitude that's been put into us by our slave masters where, you know, if it ain't instant popcorn, I want it. I don't want it. You know, sometimes you have to get that old that Dutch oven kettle out and put that butter in there and wait on it to start. You wait on you know what I mean? Instead of throwing it in the microwave and then 30 seconds later, then you got a popcorn or whatever. So that's something that I would like to do. So because it says right here, have patience. So in other words, what he's telling us, you know, have patience. Okay, so a lot of times, see, when we look at these things, when it tells you to have patience, what Mr. Hubbard have identified to us on things of this nature is that, see, patience is an ability. It's not a doingness. You can't just tell somebody to have patience and then they got all kind of impediments in front of them that's keeping them from being patient.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to realize that patience is an ability, not a doingness.
Mm-hmm.
See, so if we can do some exercises, and then part of it is just really awareness too. See, whenever you become impatient, you know, confront it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not patient? Am I dissatisfied with the will of Allah? You know, it's not happening as fast as I would like for it to happen. See, awareness of these things helps us to gain a better grip on these things as well as ourselves, and then realizing, because you can tell your son or your daughter, you just need to have patience. Well, then you can tell them that. Ain't nothing wrong with telling them that, but consider the fact that it's not something that you can just tell them to do. We all are familiar with the cliche that said, easier said than done. You know, and I remember a brother was saying, he was talking about business. You know, sometimes that we can have all these great business ideas, man, and we can just see it to the point where we're making millions and billions of dollars, and it's real easy to do until you start until you get it out of your head. Until you actually start to try and do it. See, and then you run into this brick wall called matter, energy, space, and time. Go ahead, Brother Lukeman.
So would you say that being impatient is another way of saying we're not in ARC with Allah?
Yeah. Yeah, that is an indicator. Exactly. Because that's in other words, it's something that I liked about the former President Reagan's wife. She used to have this saying, play the hand that's dealt you. So whatever hand Allah deals you, just play that hand. And realize, just realize that everything ain't necessarily supposed to go the way that you want it to go.
It's like playing spades and you got a handful of hearts. Just wait for the next hand.
Right. That's right. See? And so this is what it is. But see, the mind, the awareness, the awareness of this particular thing, the awareness gives you an awareness is on a certain level of knowledge. Then you bring KRC into the equation where knowledge, responsibility, see there? Responsibility, and then control. And this is how we get a grip on what's going on around us. This is how we get a grip. And so it says the messengers had patience. Seek not to hasten on for them that doing. In other words, sometimes, our people, man, I wish Allah just go in and wipe this devil on out. Allah would, just like the minister talk about, his medical situation. You think the minister don't have a thought in his mind that he'd like to just nip that in the bud right now and finish that on off? But he said that Allah will take care of that in his own good time. I have a medical situation myself. I've come to grips more and more later that Allah will take care of it in his own good time. If he chooses to take care of it. At any rate, I need to be in harmony with Allah. I need to try to bring myself in harmony with Allah. And if he never takes it away, if I can be in harmony enough so when I die and when he takes the soul, he'll take a soul that is in harmony with him. You see, he's not taking a soul it won't exist as a soul that's contrary, that's dissatisfied with why you do this to me. I done spent all of this time, trying to be right. Don't complain. See, that goes back to something what Sister Tina was talking about when she mentioned the thing about Job. Job just got in the groove. Job, now we didn't hear Job saying, thank you, Allah. But Job was in the groove. He just got lockstep with it. And I remember, maybe roughly about 10 years ago or a little bit more. And I remember when the minister was talking about himself, talking about his own medical situation. He was talking about, he said that he was there. It was either right before he went into surgery or afterwards, somewhere along that time. he was saying that I thank Allah for this and I thank Allah for that. And then he said, I thank Allah for the pain. And when he said that, that struck me. And I said to myself, Farrakhan, you trying to lose me now. You trying to throw me off the ship. You trying to throw me off this ship. You thanking Allah for pain. But as I matured, and we growing fast, all of us are growing fast. See, he thanked Allah for pain because he realized where that the pain put him in a state of humility and a state of submission to Allah. The pain will make you submit. And then he has a lecture. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan has a lecture called Where Would We Be Without Pain?
Mhm.
So all of this is to mature us spiritually in our journey. Because we're going to see, we can't look at everything like little children. You know, all the children want is happiness and toys. You sit them down to the dinner table. They don't want to eat dinner, but they want dessert. See, that's the sign of a child. Immature. But when I was a child, I thought as a child. But now that I'm a man, I'm trying to be a man, I'm putting away childish things. And so when you begin to mature, you understand that life is not just a bed of roses. Or it might be a bed of roses, so you got to realize it's some roses and there are some thorns too. You see. So seek not to hasten on them their due. So pay whenever you feel impatient, know that really that your reactive mind is impinging on theta. See, when you're impatient, the impatient is taking you out of present time. So what is TR0 is be there or confront. We talked about confronting. Confronting is to be there comfortably. See? So you recognize and you measure, you take a measurement of your discomfort. And when you take that measurement of your discomfort, and then you can say, be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If it's when you start looking at it from the standpoint of it being a ridge, you can use creative processing, and then you can see whatever it is, the ridge, you can picture the ridge, and then what you do, you take the ridge, you mock up the ridge being put aside, and then you can see your goal. Okay. Everybody good?
Yes, sir. Sister Belinda just put something on. I'm copying that down because I heard part of that, where would we be without pain? But I also wanted to, and thank you, Sister Belinda. That's I'm going to copy that. But during this pandemic, I thought of how the Nation of Islam, and I did KRC because I noticed we're growing spiritually. We didn't say, oh, the virus. We just got together on Zoom. People are teaching different classes, enlightening us. So when you said KRC, we have been a supreme example of KRC during this pandemic. We've gotten innovative. We're on a spiritual path. We're teaching each other. So I just thought about that KRC, you know, how we're taking responsibility.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. That's what it is, because we wouldn't even be together if it wasn't for the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So we can sit up here and complain, you know, because before, when we were doing this over at Mos 15B, I think every once in a while we would Belinda would let somebody call in. We did like a conference call, a free conference call, and then people could call in and listen in, but you were not really able to ask a question. I mean, you could, but it was just a whole different thing, because if you're in a room with other people live, then your attention is in that room. It's not really so much on the conference call. So now, you know, we're with the blessings of this technology, of the Zoom technology. Mm-hmm. You know, we are able to get people from St. Louis, from Chicago, mm-hmm. and parts beyond, mm-hmm. all the way up in New York, you know, and we making new friends, you know, friends in all walks of life. You know, the KRC is bringing ARC, and we're just better. We're better for it. Okay, so we winding this thing on down here. Anybody got anything that they'd like to say? Let's see, 28. Okay, well, let's go to a surah. We'll close it out with this, one of my favorites. Surah 48. Maybe even before that, we're going to go to 47, 36, 37, and 38.
So Surah 47?
That's right. 36, 30. 36, 37, 38. Okay. You want to read, somebody want to read 36, 37, 38?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sis.
36, 37, 38. The life of this world, 36. The life of this world is but idle sport and play. And if you believe and keep your duty, he will give you your reward. And he does not ask of you your wealth. If he should ask you for it and press you, you would be niggardly. And he will bring forth your malice. Behold, you are those who are called to spin in Allah's way. But among you are those who are niggardly. And whoever is niggardly against his own soul. And Allah is self-sufficient, and you are needy. And if you turn back, he will bring in your place another people. Then they will not be like you.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Oh man.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Sound like we got a cognition going.
Ooh,
Man,
just
make sure
straight up in your face.
it's
You know,
ignition, cognition.
Sound like the Holy Ghost to me.
Ooh, just in your face. I'm
Ain't
just
it
gonna
though?
replace you, okay?
Yeah, that's another one of my favorites there. You know, so the life of this world is sport and play. If you believe and keep your duty, he will give you your reward. So there you go. There's that theme again. Believe, do good, and you're gonna get something for it. In other words, Allah is not asking you to do nothing, because the reward is really built into the structure of his universe. The reward is built in. He tells you, he gives it to you, because some people need a little storybook kind of tale. Okay, Johnny, you do your chores, and I'm going to give you a big ice cream cone. But for those of us who understand, see, we understand the mechanism of this thing. It really ain't no room for no ifs, ands, or buts, because the way he got this thing set up is for exchange. If you do this, you get that. Now, but sometimes he will bless you out of his mercy and his grace. Sometimes he'll reward you and you might not even deserve. But you are at least gonna get something. You will at least get something. At the minimum, you'll get what you put into it. So then it says, if he said he'll give you your reward. He ain't asking you for your wealth. Then he said, but if he should ask you for it, impress you, you will be niggardly. And remember, we was talking about niggardliness is sort of like an aberration of the first dynamic. Niggardliness is the force of gravity in the first dynamic. You know, it is the inability to move beyond the first dynamic. That first dynamic can be poison. He said, if he should ask you for it and press you, you will be niggardly. And he will bring forth your malice. Malice against what? Against him. So he's saying that we got malice. He's telling you, you got a little malice against me. I know you got it. And I know how to bring it forth if I want to. See, but see, now only the more mature people are going to really see that. He's telling you that you got malice, and don't feel bad if you got a little malice against God. You was born in sin. You were shaped in iniquity. What do you expect? He's just trying to make you and I aware of it so that we can get a grip on it. And then we can say, be, and it is. Be purified. Be cleansed. Be strengthened. How can I purify? How can I be purified, Allah? How can I purify myself? How can I be purified? How can I put myself in a position to be purified? How do I clean myself, Allah? How can I put myself in a position for you to clean me? How do I gain strength, Allah? How do I put myself in a position for you to strengthen me, for me to be strengthened by you? All right. So in other words, don't get all big chested, go with your chest all out. I'm the righteous. Be humble. Then he said, behold, you are of those who are called. See, he said I'm calling you. That's how I'm strengthening you. I'm purifying you and I'm cleansing you by you spending in my way. Because it is the spending that absolutely counteracts and nullifies malice. When you spend in the cause, that means you have to be one with the cause. It's just like what we was talking about, Sister Tina. We was talking about the admiration, how you admire that which you are at odds with, and how that nullifies that charge. I remember back in the days of the temple, we used to say, well, it's time for charity. Now we're getting ready now to appeal to that most sensitive nerve within you. That's that niggardliness. So there's malice. See, if you got a little niggardliness, there's got to be a little malice attached there somewhere. So what you do, you confront niggardliness through giving. And see, when you give, you want to direct yourself to give in the right spirit. Not to give to be seen of men, but to confront the niggardliness, but to understand the charity, find the admiration factor in the charity. What is good about it? If you give in Allah's way, well then, gosh, you should be able to find something admirable about giving in the cause, for instance, to help the poor. To help to facilitate the dissemination of Allah's word of his will. You are called to spend on Allah's way, but among you are those who are niggardly. And check this out. Now, this is the thing that always got me. This is the one, and I'm thinking that's what got Sister Denise too. He said, if you niggardly, you just niggardly against your own soul. You ain't hurt nobody but yourself. He said, and Allah is self-sufficient, but you are needy. I heard that ring in your voice when you read that, sister. Because that's the same way it rang in my voice. What kind of nerve you got to be niggardly. And Allah is sufficient. And you the one that are needy. Boy, the Quran got a way of dressing you down, don't it? He said, if you turn back, he will bring in your place another people and they will not be like you. So he's just saying, respect the fact, look, man, I gave you a front row seat here. That's how you gonna act? I'm giving you an opportunity to do something. And you can't think about nothing but yourself. So may Allah bless us further during this Ramadan. And so we were trying to figure out about the night of power. And we got a little clarification the other day. Sister Ania put us on the right track, because really when you Google Ramadan, it always says that the start of Ramadan is the evening of such and such day. So if the start of that, if it's the start, then that day is actually the first day of Ramadan. So the odd night, the 27th night is tonight. And so I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do. So that would be Saturday, Sunday. So Monday would be the night that we would be trying to do the night of power. Inshallah, maybe we can bring in the minister's birthday. And we won't go no more than a couple of hours on Monday. So we'll just bring it on in, and then when 12 o'clock midnight comes, then we will thank Allah for our wonderful minister, of whom we wouldn't even know each other if it was not for him. So that's pretty much it for today. Anybody like to say anything or ask a question before we close out? Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
I just wanted to touch on one ayat. I won't go into it for the sake of time, but in Surah 47:30, it says, and certainly thou canst recognize them by the tone of their speech.
How about
Just
that?
the fact that it mentions tone of speech in the Holy Quran.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then that's what we were just talking about, about the words in Mr. Hubbard's definition. The quality of sound. All right. Anybody else?
Yes,
all right.
Walaikum
salam.
Just on that point about the night and then the day, Brother Imam Sultan covered that subject during the Jummah khutbah this past Friday.
Okay.
So anybody that wants to, hear
back.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I would like to go back and check that one out myself. And then, of course, we have the Night of Power, the official NOI Night of Power tonight.
Yes, ma'am, Brother Bateen.
Yes.
And just in addition to what Sister Ania just said, I sent you and Brother Lukman an email of the tweet that Brother Imam sent out.
Okay.
It was either today or next day. He sent it out with the explanation of that signing.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes,
and I had received something. Yeah, I think I had received.
I sent it to you, honey, in the text.
That's right. Okay. So that's what that was. Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Yeah, because we want to be compliant. And then, of course, tomorrow we will meet tomorrow same time, and then afterwards we have Brother Lukman's class. And I think I'm looking at the email. The email has got the Zoom credentials and everything. So we want to invite everyone to that particular meeting as well. All right. So with that, Sister Jacqueline, if you would take us through the end of session, and then if we can get Brother Lukman to close us out with prayer.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Family, please take a few moments to prepare for intercession. Thank you. Rapidly sketch over the session just ended. Begin. Thank you. Sketch over what you have been doing again with particular attention to how you have been sitting. Begin. Thank you. Go over the period of the session with regard only to what you have been doing with your hands and things in the exterior world you have heard during the session. Begin. Thank you. Fix your attention upon a pleasant object near you now. Begin. Thank you, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you, Ms.
Praise
Sister.
be to Allah.
All right. If you will close us out in prayer, Brother Lukman.
Attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Master of the day of judgment in which we now live, thee alone do we serve, thine aid do we seek. Please, Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray if they've heard thy teaching. Ameen.
Amen. All right, brothers and sisters, go in peace. Inshallah, I'd like to just say that we had one of our great pioneer brothers here in Atlanta made his transition, brother Joe Muhammad. And he was one of the first to stand up with the minister. And so I'm trying my best to I'm part of the Janaza team where we wash brothers' bodies when they pass, and so I'm trying not to miss. We've gone this is day 26. We've gone 26 days without missing a day, and we won't miss a day, even if I'm not here. We'll still have it, and then you can just go with your what you got. And as a matter of fact, why don't we just, for the rest of Ramadan, everybody, if you got some ayats that you want to cover, let's cover your ayats. Let's cover that. And then I'll comment on them, or anybody else might want to comment on them. Maybe you bring one, and then you can comment, or you can bring it forth and just say why you chose this particular ayat, and then we'll go like that for the rest of the Ramadan, 27, 28, 29, 30, for the next 4 days. All right. So that way, if for some reason I don't make it because they have certain requirements, with the Bible, we're in the Western world, we're not in the Islamic world. And so the funeral homes require certain things, and they want to do certain things since, they got the body. And I feel compelled to do everything I can to be an assistance to the proper burial and the proper performing of our ritual, even though we don't really follow ritual, but the ritual always points to a higher principle. So thank you, Brother Lukman. Thank you, everyone on the call. And inshallah, we will see you tomorrow around 5, and we will, like we normally do, we will end up a little early so that we can migrate to Brother Lukman's class. May Allah bless each and every one of you, and Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem, brother. Good class.
Yes, sir.
Allah.